19th, Eaton County Board of Commissioners meeting. Rise for invocation, please. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this evening. We thank you for this board and commissioners. We thank you for this opportunity to discuss issues of the county, and we just pray for wisdom and discernment this evening. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Arndt. Here. Commissioner Peak. Here. Commissioner Haskell.
Here.
Commissioner Pearl Wright. Here. Commissioner Whitaker. Commissioner Moudry.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Drosha.
Here.
Commissioner Toomey.
Here.
Commissioner Hanson.
Here.
Commissioner Christensen. Here. Commissioner Holmes. Here. Commissioner Barber. Here. Chairman Mott.
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker's here.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, we have the agenda additions or changes. Are there any?
I don't have any.
I have a motion.
Agenda.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Drosha, supported by Commissioner Toomey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Move the minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Pearl Wright.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Arndt. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, actually, we needed to move both, minutes, okay? Let's do the February 6th special because I did not include that in. So is there someone that wanted to move the February 6th special meeting?
Move the minutes as written.
Moved by Commissioner Drosha, supported by Commissioner Peak, and all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have communications. We have one from Carmel Township supporting the continuation of Eaton County's planning and zoning. Next, we have the MDNR grant, trust fund application, trust fund application. And this is a public comment section for the Lincoln Brick Park. Specifically, it's a DNR trust fund grant application for Lincoln Brick Park expansion. The grant would fund the purchase of approximately 49 acres, next to Lincoln Brick Park. So does anyone in the gallery wish to speak about this grant specifically? All right, seeing none, we will move on. And that'll move us to our first limited public comment. If you'd like to address the board, please approach the podium, and if you can keep it under 3 minutes, we appreciate it. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next up, we have our committee reports. And first, we have Public Works and Planning with Commissioner Barber.
Thank you, Chair. I only have one action item for tonight. It's a resolution to approve the construction codes to enter a MOU with the city of Grand Ledge, and I so move it.
Moved by Commissioner Barber, supported by Commissioner DeRocha. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Barber. Next up, we have Public Safety Committee with Commissioner Holmes.
So we had public safety on March 6th. Have 3 action items. First one, a resolution to authorize application for the Office of Highway Safety and Planning Strategic Traffic Enforcement Program. This is funding for traffic enforcement in zones. The grant is for $75,000 for overtime costs and eligible equipment. and there's no required matching funds. I move this.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Holmes, supported by Commissioner Toomey. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we have a resolution approving the integrated public alert and warning system for Eaton County and Delta Township, MOU for that. This is a national system that provides emergency alerts to the public, which I think we heard about 12:59 today. This memorandum of understanding between Eaton County and Delta Township for the use of this for emergency alerting. This would remain in effect through March of 2028. I move this.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Holmes, supported by Commissioner Haskell. All those, or any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Another resolution is to approve fiscal year 2024 Homeland Security Grant Program Sub-Recipient Agreement. This is agreement, Ingham County is the fiduciary agent and of this grant program. Eaton County is required to enter into this agreement with Ingham County to continue receiving training and equipment opportunities funded by Homeland Security. Eaton County's portion is $21,719.60, and I move this.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Holmes, supported by Commissioner Toomey.
That was not me.
Wasn't it? Oh, okay. Commissioner Hanson. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
That would conclude my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. Next up, we have Ways and Means with Commissioner Drosha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We combined Ways and Means with IT. So we had reports from our Technology Services Director, our Communications Director, our Human Resources Director, and our Finance Director. And we have 4 action items on our agenda tonight. The first action item, I'll get back to the right page here. Resolution to approve employee technical and structural policy changes. And I'm going to ask Ben if he'd like to address that, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. So we went over this at the last full board meeting, but we had included a trigger clause that would allow us to modify our policy in alignment with any changes the legislature may have made. We went through this in Ways and Means, but to give you an idea, legislature did amend the act before it took effect. So it gave us a grace period to get our ducks in order, and we immediately reverted parts of the policy back to the 22 personnel rules while being in compliance with the rest of the act. So what is before you is what we're asking to be adopted. The main changes is it created a provision for what's considered variable hour employees to be exempt from the act. So how that impacts Eaton County, our election workers, which work on a very, very part-time basis, would no longer be covered by the act, which would make sense because they only work in segments of times around the elections, and our on-call staff at the youth facility are some examples. So we've been able to do an assessment based off those changes, which groups would be impacted by the act. It stripped out, there's a provision where an employee could sue for an alleged violation up to 3 years after for civil damages. That was taken out. So the policy before you just reflects those technical changes, and we would ask for its adoption. Yeah.
And then those are the only 2 changes from the previous version?
One other change was prior, it said employees could use it in 90 days. It's now 120 days. Let me see. Oh, and then the other piece was it subjected the reporting of unforeseeable absences to whatever written policy exists at the time. So the first iteration of the law kind of had this ambiguous window where it seemed like employers couldn't check in on employees that just were absent multiple days if it was within 3 days. That has been stripped out. If you have a written policy that's clearly communicated to your staff, which Eaton County always has, then the act is subject to that written policy. So we just set it up the same as what it's always been, which is you need to provide notice within an hour of your shift.
Great.
Yep, yep.
I would move this.
Moved by Commissioner Droshuk, supported by Commissioner Barber. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Next on our agenda is a resolution to approve county clerk election security grant reimbursement, and I would ask our county clerk if she would like to address this.
Yes, thank you. This is my request for an approval of a resolution allowing me to accept a security grant reimbursement offered by the Michigan Department of State and through the Help America Vote Act of 2002. They will reimburse security items such as ballot security bags and electronic poll books, which we purchased, and that will be in the amount of $2,248.24. There is no match required, so it's just a direct reimbursement.
I make a motion to accept that resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Pearl Wright, supported by Commissioner Toomey. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 3 on mine is the resolution to authorize application to DNR Trust Fund Acquisition Grant for Lincoln Brick Park expansion. And this is just asking for money to purchase some land that's adjacent to the park, and I would move this resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Drosha, supported by Commissioner Jane Whitaker. Any questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Haskell.
I said this in the Ways and Means, and just want to reiterate again, this is all funded either through this grant or through our Parks Village. Nothing related to the general fund that we're working on.
Yeah, these opportunities don't come along every day, and this was just perfect timing for the opportunity for the land and then opportunity for the grant. So, and this is what the public voted for, was to be able to do projects like this and be able to use funds from the public and the millage to be able to grow and improve our parks. So this is pretty exciting. So with that, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4 on my page is resolution to approve fiscal year 24-25 budget amendments. Connie, would you like to address that?
Of course. So this is an amendment for the Drain Commissioner's Office for contractual services related to soil erosion, which is under the Drain Commissioner's control. He has staff vacancies. There are actually 2 vacancies right now. The Deputy Drain Commissioner, who was newly appointed, also serves as the soil erosion enforcement officer. So in order to alleviate the responsibilities that he has as deputy now, or as soil erosion and taking over as deputy, we needed to move some money into contractual to contract with an individual to do it.
It's gone, okay. Any questions or comments?
I would make a motion to accept this resolution.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Drosha, supported by Commissioner Pearl Wright. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and lastly, we have bills to pay, and I would move that we pay our bills.
Moved by Commissioner Drosha, supported by Commissioner Haskell. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And lastly, we had the honor of having our state representative Gina Johnson address Ways and Means the other day, talking about finances from the state, profit sharing, or excuse me, revenue sharing, among other things. I really appreciate the fact that she took time to come and address us, and I just wanted to reach out and say thank you, Gina. I don't think she's here tonight, but again, thank you. We would like to hear from more of our state representatives, but anyway, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. And that moves us to the next item on the agenda, which is the administrator's report.
So I normally say this is going to be short, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be long this time. I'm kidding. Just to let you know some things that we've been working on. Obviously, we try to apply for any federal or state funding. So our office has been working on that. Primarily Logan and Claudine have been working on that. Thank you both very much for the amount of time you've spent. So we've been looking at ADA compliance, elevator replacements, the handicap door access. There are 41 doors that really should have that, but we don't have the finances for that. Public parking lot, there's 1,800 feet of walkway that should be refurbished. Website to monitor and fix compliance issues and errors. Security improvements we're looking at, and this was conferred with the sheriff's office who's responsible for security, an updated camera system with additional cameras that will address the blind spots that currently exist. Emergency lockdown for all entrances, security tint on entrance doors and windows, and cybersecurity, which we're all worried about, vulnerability and strength testing. The other thing, and we hear about this all the time, and it's kind of a frustrating thing, we have solar, and we don't have the ability, if we lose power, to generate energy at that time. So we are putting in for a battery and generator backup that would have been too costly to go for when we went for the solar project. So if we get that, that would be great. And then a storage structure that we can have. And then the other thing is power to Crandall Park. That would be to run electrical power. Obviously, we have the parks millage, but if we can get federal funding for that or state funding, that would be great. And then the dispersal of power throughout the entire park. We are also working on some other state and federal applications that are opening up, and Logan is very focused on that right now. We did funding with CRISP that we're evaluating, and basically we're going to use that for infrastructure to try to, again, get the most for what we apply for. And then finally, which is a little bit longer, we received the audited financial statements today. They are now complete. They'll be posted online. I just received the email to submit them to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. They will then be uploaded to State Local Audit and Finance Division. We then submit a report, just so you understand this, that summarizes the financials. It's called an F-65 report, and people are supposed to be able to go and look at that and really understand it, but it still needs an explanation, I will tell you that. So call me if you have questions on that. We will submit our municipal finance statements, which are required annually. Those are for the county building authority if we had any borrowing for that, and then all of the drainage districts that we anticipate borrowing. And then the last report that has to be submitted is the Public Act 202, the pension and OPEB reporting. And we will present all of that next month. Our principal auditor from the firm Raymond will be at Ways and Means and at the board meeting next month. But the finance director is responsible for the financial statements, so she'll present the actual report to you. Also, if you recall, we did the full faith and credit for the Potter Drainage District. We have to sit through what's called a due diligence process with the municipal advisors, as well as a Standard & Poor's rating. So with that, our rating was reduced from an AA to an AA-, which is not significant, and it still remains stable. But it is due to the county's reliance on utilizing fund balance. So when I present them the budget that was adopted for 24-25, it indicates a use of $4 million. When they look at our fund balance and they consider the fact that we may need to utilize fund balance next year, that's a risk, right? If we can't meet our obligations, if our revenues are not coming in as anticipated or we don't cut enough, we can lower that rating, as well as it could go up if we're performing better. So we're going to go for the latter. The other thing that Treasurer Raynette is not in here now, but he's over here. Oh, he is. Hi. He submits an annual disclosure statement that, again, is required effective March 31st. So he gets information from my office, his office submits information, and that'll be submitted and then uploaded to the state as well. So I appreciate all the work that he did related to the Standard & Poor's rating and the due diligence call, and then as well as this report that's due. Did I go fast enough? Does anybody have any questions on all of that?
No questions? All right. Thank you, Controller Selby. Next up, we have elected official comments.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners, the public in attendance, and those, excuse me, watching at home. My name is Darius Rainette, and I am your Eaton County Treasurer. I thought I'd give a brief update of what my office has been working on. This time of year, all counties in Michigan are involved in what's called settlement, collecting the tax revenue from local units of government and balancing with that and reconciling with that. My staff has been working very hard on that, and I'm happy to report that Chesterfield and Hamlin Townships are tentatively in and done. We expect 9 other local units to be done shortly. The remaining units are a little bit more complex, but that is traditionally what's always happened, but we anticipate that that will be finished by the end of the month. We've also been working with construction codes and the drain office on updating their payment processing system. Because there's a transition going on there where what they're using now will no longer be supported. And then lastly, I plan to meet along with the mayor of Eaton Rapids tomorrow with Representative Ann Bowling. We're going to discuss the Honer Mill project and to see if there's a possibility of getting any state support and what we'd like to do as far as moving ahead with that project, either with contamination cleanup or demolition. So, but that's just a brief update. Thank you for your time.
Any other elected officials?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Doug Lloyd. I gotta say it. I am your Eaton County Prosecutor. I just wanted to run through a few things tonight, and I kind of have a free flow of thoughts. First thing, I think it's important, and we've been trying to make an effort to go to public safety and to also come here to let you, the commissioners, know, as well as the citizens who actually come to the meeting, as well as those who watch YouTube, what the Eaton County Prosecutor's Office is doing on a daily basis. So just to give you a highlight of what we did during the month of February, in our office, we have currently 5,700 cases that are open and being dealt with. We were required to attend. This means we received notices from our 5 courts here in Eaton County to attend 630 hearings. We received 293 case referrals from local police agencies. We authorized charges on 105 cases. We declined 92 cases. And when I say decline, that means that we did not feel that there was enough information that was presented by the law enforcement agencies in order for us to charge a person. That's why I always go back to that statement that in reality, the prosecutor is the public defender for the county, because we are the ones who are charged with the responsibility of actually looking at every case that comes into our office. And if we do not feel that the information is there in order for us to move that case forward, that case never leaves our office. We completed diversion on 84 cases. We provided discovery 334 times in 235 cases. That means that every time that a case is actually authorized and sent out, it must either go to the defender's office or to a retained attorney. So each time that that happens, it's our responsibility, my legal assistant's responsibility, to actually send that information out to the attorney so that they have that information. We reviewed and responded to 11 applications to set aside prior convictions. That means individuals who have been convicted by us in the past have now exceeded the time that they had to wait, and they felt that it was appropriate for them to apply to have their set-asides done. Now, the courts make the final decision as to whether that should happen, but it's us who is charged with the responsibility of actually determining and looking at whether that any information should be presented to the court of why we would disagree with that set-aside happening. We issued subpoenas for 62 hearings. That means we held 62 hearings last month, such as preliminary exams, probation violations, trials, where we had to subpoena individuals to come to the courthouse for 62 separate hearings. We had more than 150 victim contacts, and we issued 30 writs to secure the appearance of defendants lodged in other institutions. That means that every time a person has court, if they are lodged in a jail, let's say Ingham County, or they are in prison in Jackson County, it is our responsibility as the Eaton County Prosecutor's Office to actually create a writ to give to that other institution and to give to our sheriff to have them actually go get the individual and bring that person back. I bring that all up for a reason. Those are the responsibilities that we have, or some. See, as the Eaton County Prosecutor, I am a constitutionally mandated position. Now, there has been, and I hope y'all aren't living under rocks, that you're actually checking in on social media to see what's being said out there. Because I'm bothered by a lot of the comments that are being made right now, because they're being made against our employees. There are over 400 employees in this county, if we were fully staffed, which we never are. But in reality, there's 25 actually elected positions. 5 of them are judges. 5 of us would be the drain commissioner, the treasurer, the clerk, myself, and the sheriff. The other 15, when you're fully staffed, are you. You're the majority of elected positions within this county. And see, I think that's important to know, as I am an elected position, that people question, well, what's so important about the prosecutor that he makes more money than, say, the sheriff? Well, first off, I make $134,950.08. Now, out there on social media, it is being reported that I make almost $260,000. Now, I went to college for 4 years. I went to law school for 3 years. I had to pass the Michigan bar. In reality, I passed 2 other state bars too, but that doesn't have any bearing to you, probably did to my employers throughout the years. During these years, I've had 4 years as a defense attorney, 29 years as a prosecutor, and I've been the elected prosecutor for the last 13 years. I've handled more murders and what would be considered life offenses than I can remember. So when it's asked, am I qualified to be a prosecutor, I'm quite confident that I am. On top of that, I also have to have the managerial experience. If I were fully staffed, I would have 12 assistant prosecutors, all of which had to go through the same thing I did. 4 years of college, 3 years of law school, and to pass the bar. Now, in reality, because of the situations that we live in, I'm back to the staffing levels of 2012. So all those cases that I spoke to you about, I'm back to those staffing levels. On top of that, I'm down on my legal assistance as well. So while our cases are up this year, I'm down on my legal assistance and I'm actually being able to help. And I do have to make a side note. I have two wonderful investigators, and I told you about my great office last month, but I did not speak about them. And funny and interesting, your employees, my employees actually listened to these meetings, and it was brought to my attention that I had left them out. So I wanted to make sure tonight that my two investigators knew that I am very proud of the work that they do for me and my office. But that long story of who I am and what I do and the importance of our office and how I, as the elected official, supervise 25 people, 12 of them with degrees that are called Juris Doctorates. It is heartbreaking when individuals make statements against my office or against individuals saying things such as we are corrupt or that the prosecutor's office is corrupt. Now, funny and interesting, these people don't actually think that over the 35 years of experience I have that I might be able to actually remember names of people I have prosecuted. But it does make me think that we should be careful when we just immediately assume what we see on Facebook or other social media, that the statements that they make are true. These may be individuals who hold a grudge because of things that have happened to them in the past. But even a bigger concern to me than that, in the sense that there are only 25 of us who are elected, is that it's the employees, those 400 plus employees who are being attacked on social media. One of the moderators of one of the pages actually posted something that she was upset that somebody had approached her children and had called her an antagonist for talking about things in regards to the millage. And that she made the statement that she said that she should be spoke to directly because she is addressing issues, not attacking families. But yet in the same social media group, they obtained a FOIA from this county listing all of the employees' names and salaries. That was done on Friday or Thursday. You'd have been surprised at the many calls I received from employees in this county who did not realize that their pay was actually subject to FOIA, let alone they may not have understood what FOIA meant. But these employees out here, and in reality, they're your employees. If it's not under an elected official, they're your employees. Most of them didn't have any idea that their name and pay were going to be out there, or that these individuals were going to take individuals who were not elected official and call them out by name. See, in my opinion, that's taking away from the issues, and now you're picking on the individual and the family. So I'm bothered when they say we want to focus on the issue, not the families, but then they focus on the persons that are employees. So that's where it comes to you. All of you are elected, and I don't care whether you support this ballot proposal or you don't. That's your choice. You have to respond to your constituents. But you are the Eaton County Board of Commissioners, which means that all 15 of you represent Eaton County. And I have watched over the last couple days employees that I know, employees that I don't know, stick up for this ballot proposal and stick up for Eaton County. And they are being attacked. But what I don't see is I don't see any of you. And, you know, I get it. Some of you are brand new. Some of you aren't. But say something. Your constituents deserve to know. Because you're going to be the one who are going to be looking at those 400 employees when this, when this is all said and done, I believe March 28th is our next special hearing on the budget. And you're going to have to explain to them all of this. It's your job, whether you were new or you were old. So to sit there and say, well, I didn't know, I don't understand, gosh, this is all surprising to me, well, get over it and pick a side. I don't care what side it is. Let your employees know where you stand, whether it be the ones that are going to be affected by the ballot proposal, because there's a bunch of them, or the employees that are going to suffer whether that ballot proposal passes or not. Because if you allow your employees, and I'll call them out, if you allow the controller's office to take the heat for what becomes your final vote, the budget every year is your final vote. It's not mine, it's not the controller, it's not anyone else. So stand up, take a side. I'm elected. I had no problem just putting my full pay out there. Is it embarrassing? Yes, it is. Can I look around at every other county and find a lot higher pay? Could I go out into private practice and guarantee a lot higher pay? But do I love my job and I love my county? There's things that go when you choose to take the pay you do. But you have the opportunity after I get done talking to make a commissioner report. So it's your opportunity to actually say something. Because by this time next month, when you choose to actually stand up, it won't matter. Because the absentee ballots would have already gone out. So I appreciate, and I know the chairman always wishes or regrets that he actually gave elected officials the opportunity to speak, because I violated my 3 minutes in public speaking, but I appreciate that, and I appreciate you allowing me to give the history. But please, let's say something.
Thank you, Doug. Yep. Okay.
Good evening. I'm going to give you the background of my office, and I've included a handout to the commissioners. I want to start by saying that I, too, am a constitutional officer. I'm your county clerk, register of deeds, clerk of the circuit court, and chief election official for Eaton County. I'm elected by the voters of this county, not by one district. You, as the board and the residents, rely on me to fulfill my constitutional responsibilities. And that's the same for the other constitutional offices, the treasurer, the sheriff, and the prosecutor offices. But here's something I would like you to understand. Treasurer Raynette and I are facing more cuts because unlike the last ballot proposal, the public safety proposal is specific to the sheriff and the prosecutor's offices. As a board, you are going to be facing tough decisions. But I'm going to ask you to keep in mind that my office and the treasurer's office have constitutional responsibilities that have to be funded at a serviceable level. We can get into the discussion of what serviceable means, but I will tell you now that our offices have not recovered from the cuts in 2008 and in 2017. I've worked with the board for years, as did our prior clerk. This county has not done a good job of funding county offices. That's just the fact. I think we can all agree that this board should not have let things get to this point. You should have been talking to the public and all of your local communities about what was happening at the county, to my office, and to all of our offices. We waited to get to a point and for Chair Mott to have to insist that the county take action regarding financial stability. I've been here since 1989, and this struggle has continued year after year. I'm not going to spend time telling you what all my offices do. You can read that in my handout. That's an overview. And I provided for the public, they can watch the July 26, 2024 meeting where I presented what my offices do. But what I am going to talk about is elections. Not one person can deny the significance of the election process. I have a one-person election office. She's also my chief deputy. And what does that mean? It means if Kim Morris is not here working at the county, you're looking at me to do it all, and that's unsustainable. We're subject to state and federal elections and then any special elections that the whole county wants to put in. Schools, jurisdictions, libraries, we do it all. And because that department is so important, I would like to take a minute and have Kim just briefly speak about her role as our election coordinator for the Office of the County Clerk. Thank you.
Good evening. As she said, my name is Kim Morris. I am her Chief Deputy and Elections Coordinator, not Director. As she stated, it's her and I for this office. We have the potential for 3 elections every year, May, August, and November. For those presidential election years, there's a 4th one. Used to be March, now it's that February election. For our February election this year, we started working on that in October of 2023, and we just put the November 2024 election to bed last month, just a couple weeks ago. So that kind of tells you our planning process from start to finish. Within that, it's overlapping. We have duties going on, getting ready for the presidential primary. We have 9 days of early voting. There are a minimum of 8 hours a day that we have to offer for the voters. We have a coordinated committee one, basically here in Eaton County. We have 19 jurisdictions that participate with us. In November, there was 64 different ballot styles that we could issue to those voters that came in. That's testing, that's preparing, that's programming. That was Diana and I, right? We coordinate, and then we have election workers that actually work that, but behind the scenes, that's us. I'll just jump to this. Accuracy is critical. We're constantly working against the clock to meet deadlines because election law does not allow any other room for that. A deadline is a deadline. You can search the MCLs. There's no room for error. Accepting some of the duties, we'll jump into that again. I'm just gonna highlight, I could probably sit here for a long time and tell you all the duties, but we'll just get down to it. Accepting candidate filings. Most of you know my face because of candidate filings. Campaign finance. We have to administer, maintain, review, send those out for the public and for yourselves. We have the responsibility to have the county database for over those 350 candidates that file and those proposals that file with us, okay? That's candidate listings, making sure everything's from that point on. We get to program. We are fortunate enough with our vendor that we are programming in-house. A benefit to you, we don't have to pay the vendor thousands of dollars for that programming and to send those out. Granted, I love that part, so I try to keep that control as much as possible. But we're doing that for all of Eaton County. Again, I said 64 splits. That's not including Delta, their splits, or Windsor Township. Along with ballot programming, we have to send out proof ballots to all of you. We have to do the testing. We have to test the machine for accuracy, that what we programmed is accurate. We have to prepare, we have to order those ballots, we have to send them to the local jurisdictions. They have to do their testing twice, just like us, a pre-test and a public. Distributing those ballots, making sure they have the correct ballots, they have the correct ballot style. Basically, do you have your right school, do you have your right commissioner, your village, library districts, all of that on the ballot that you're receiving to vote on. After that, we are compiling all those election results that come in election night. We are very proud to say that we have quite a few election results out there by 8:30 on election night, and that's a November general. We try to maintain that status with even all the specials here till 5 a.m., if not later, on a November night. Granted, we're out the door and ready to go by 5 a.m. on a November general as well. Along that, we get to train over 300 plus election workers on the even years. Basically, in June and July, that accreditation helps for them to work elections, early voting, and that has to happen every 2 years. Lastly, we must attend all of the meetings for the Board of Canvassers. If you've ever been a part of the County Board of Canvassers, they have to meet. They're canvassing those election results. We get to prepare those results, make sure everything is accurate and up to date. We have to prepare those, get those ready for review, audit, and certify all of the election results. Then there's recounts. Some of you have actually participated and called for a recount to be there. Same thing, prepare, establish, conduct, wrap that up, and then lastly are audits. And now audits, that's me. The law just recently changed that Diana cannot perform these audits because she is a constitutional member of that party. So not one county clerk in the state of Michigan perform those audits, so that's on me. We have up to 5 in a November general that needs to be performed, and basically they all come out wonderful, okay? So that's just a snippet into all of the wonderful things that we do. Thank you. If you have any questions, like she may say or I may say, come talk to us. Figure out what you can do. I know you guys talk and ask questions about candidate filings, this and that. There's a lot more to it from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other elected officials that would like to speak? All right. Moving on. Next up, we have commissioner comments. I'm going to go first because there's a few things I want to say, and then we'll open it up. First of all, I want to address, many of you, if not all of you, received an anonymous letter from an employee this week. I just want to address that real quickly. We are not, as commissioners, in the position to address individuals, employees here. It is not our job. We don't have the background. We don't understand really what's going on with this individual and everything else. So we've received letters over the years, probably Commissioner Pearl-Wright's been here, I think, longer than any of us. She knows. And we'll probably get more letters like this. So when you do, if you'd please hand them over or inform Controller Sobey and Ben Dawson, our Human Resource Director. Ben is fabulous. We all want the county to do better, and we don't want any employee here to feel that they cannot come to their director, Ben, or anybody here that they're going to be afraid of reprisal or being punished in any way. Controller Sobey has said that from day one. We wanted to create that culture because that was not here prior to her. And so I just want to reiterate, I know it's been said before, but if you could please not get involved with employees and their job here. That is why we pay the Human Resources Director. And also, I will say this to the employees, if you couldn't please not write about things going on here at the county as far as issues, those are best addressed to the Human Resources Director. We don't, if we get involved, 9 times out of 10, we're going to screw it up. And that's just not what we're here to do. So we have great employees, like Prosecutor Lloyd said, and they're very dedicated. And we have over 400 employees. So one employee doesn't represent everybody. So I want to say that. I'm glad that both of you are here. I wish it was under different circumstances, but I'm glad you spoke, because your office is indicative of a lot of the offices here. Controller's office. If any one of these offices lose a key person in their office, almost become unfunctionable. So I want you to understand the dire straits that we're in and the tough decisions that we have to make going forward. And there's going to be a lot of upset people, so we need to show each other a little patience, a little understanding, and a lot of grace. So, and I want to thank, today, we were at the Shalott Rotary, and I want to thank the Shalott Rotary for having Controller Sobey, Prosecutor Doug Lloyd, and then Sheriff Tom Reich speak on the public safety millage. And it was a good event. Also, I want to talk about that public safety millage just briefly. This, in my opinion, is a must. We cannot go without, in my opinion, road patrol and having the prosecutor's office staffed to the level that, so he can do his job and they can do their job prosecuting criminals. Because if we do not have this ability to do this and have to pick and choose, I'm telling you that you know as well as anybody, the criminals will know that, and they will be coming into Eaton County, and it's just a fact. And and I understand it's tough times out there. I get it. So residents are going to have to make a decision. Do you want public safety? You want to have the ability to have someone there within a reasonable time to address a situation, or take a risk? I'm not willing to take that risk. With that, I want to open up to all the other commissioners. Commissioner Haskell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also wanted to thank the clerk and prosecutor for their comments today, specifically to hearing about that many of our staff's salaries had been FOIA'd. That struck a chord with me as well. I have been a staffer myself that has been had my salary released and published, lumped in with a lot of others, and kind of persecuted, I guess you would say, for that in public. So that doesn't sit well with me. So it's unfortunate to hear. While my social media following is not as big as I wish it would be at times, I've made comments on there. I don't think anyone in my area questions my commitment to getting the public safety millage passed. For the last 2 months, I've been speaking at some local meetings and encouraging folks to support the public safety millage as well. And I would encourage a lot of my colleagues that maybe haven't taken a stance on it to do so yet. And I guess my final thought that I'll leave out there is at the December meeting last year, I mentioned that it might be a good idea for us to take a vote with the new board and reaffirm our support for the public safety millage. I know things got busy. We hit the ground running and hoping to find other ways to communicate the importance of this millage out. But I do wonder if we missed a opportunity there, and perhaps it is too late. But for what it's worth, here tonight, I want to reaffirm my support for this millage.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Commissioner Christensen.
Mic wouldn't turn on. I as well want to thank the clerk's office and the prosecutor's office and the controller's office. Everybody has their hands extremely full right now. I had reached out to Connie, and I know I had talked to you about it. I did reach out to the sheriff as well. You guys canvassed a lot of territory the last election and spoke to a lot of different areas. I know you said you didn't have the time or manpower right now to do that for this next election. One of the social media pages that Prosecutor Lloyd was speaking of, I'm actually banned off the page. They didn't like what I had to say. So I was removed, which is fine. They still send me private messages and ask questions, and I'll provide them with all the details they want. I've encouraged a couple of them to come talk to the controller's office or to Prosecutor Lloyd's office or any other office that they want to. And interesting enough, one of the people complaining continuously doesn't even live here. She lives in Arizona. So, but anyways, one of the big things that they keep saying is they want what they call a roundtable meeting. Well, I know I had suggested something to you about maybe having just open up this room after one of our board meetings or something and having a question and answer session. But I think that's something that not just Prosecutor Lloyd or the sheriff need to be invited to. I think the commissioners need to be here as well to be able to answer backup questions that possibly one of those two can't. So I guess I'm just putting it out there to see if that's still something that can be orchestrated, or what the other commissioners even feel about that.
Yeah, it's something we're going to, in my opinion, more meetings the better.
I mean, and I
Commissioner
know
DeRoche-
that the
Oh, I'm sorry.
last time, sorry, Brian, I know the last time I attended multiple meetings that you guys did, and everybody wants to complain behind the keyboard, but nobody wants to come to the meetings. So there was, you know, usually just a couple handfuls of people there. People would need to attend. That's the big thing.
Yeah, we can put it out there. Commissioner DeRoche.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Christensen. I mean, our meetings are open to the public. They're on YouTube. They're archived on YouTube. There's no reason to make an accusation to any of us at the county, knowing full well that it's out there in the public. I mean, I've been kicked off some of those social media pages too, because they don't want some of them, I won't say everyone, but some of them don't want the truth. They want to hear their own opinion and conjecture. And it's here before you. We're not lying to anybody. We're certainly not hiding anything. When we have meetings that aren't on YouTube, it's because they're closed session, as we will go to tonight, because they're issues that we can't make public right now. So for anybody to say that we're not transparent, they're not paying attention, or they don't want to pay attention. And that's sad in a county like Eaton County. We've got many opportunities in this county, and when people speak poorly of our county, it speaks poorly of all of our residents, and I'm offended by that. I'm like Doug. I love this county. I'm not going to move from it. I don't know what to tell people when they say you're not giving us all the facts. I don't know how much more information we can give them. I really don't, and it's frustrating. So as to go along with what Commissioner Haskell said, I am 100% behind this millage. We need it. We have to be able to function as a county. And it's not just for the people inside this building, but it's for all of our residents, because public safety is an absolute. I mean, I don't know what else to go with that, so thank you.
Commissioner Pearl-Wright.
Last night, Commissioner Haskell, Commissioner Whitaker, and I were, all three happened to be at a meeting. There was at least 30 people there. And Commissioner Haskell took a good lead to explain it all over again to all those people, because none of them come to this meeting, really. And so I just want you to know that we all spoke on it last night. And I even will agree with Commissioner DeRoche, because I got pretty loud last night when I said, there's no reason that people don't know what we're doing, because they have YouTube. If they don't want to come, they can watch us live. They can watch us at midnight sitting in their own lazy boy. And I am active on my Facebook page. I put the certain things that come up that people might want to know. So of course those are Eaton County events or Eaton County information, so that takes staff. And then I keep inviting people, even, I mean, to go to Facebook or go to whatever and get yourself informed. I don't know how not to communicate with people when they say we're not communicating. So I'm not finding out what the not part is about. I do want to say that, in my opinion, that when we lost our local paper, some of you still have the County Journal. I'm in Delta Township, and Grand Ledge used to get the Grand Ledge Independent out to all of Grand Ledge and into Oneida Township and into my portion of Delta Township. And then the Delta Waverly paper took over in Commissioner Whitaker's. And I know that when I was in here the first time, I would be writing those opinions and presenting new things coming up in the county and things like that. We had reporters. We had a reporter assigned to the Delta. We had a reporter assigned right there. And that's where that table back there that you pick your agendas, that's called the press table, in case you didn't know it. So we actually had, so it's really hard. So all of you need to be able to communicate wherever possible. So if you find a group of people, talk to them. Those absentee ballots are coming out. And I was told last night as well that people vote on absentee ballots, 60% of them, when they get it within 3 days. Start talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Commissioner Holmes?
Yeah, I've been out there and I try to tell people that get informed, and I don't know how many times I've said that, and you hear somebody say, well, whatever, we'll just take care of it ourselves. And I'm thinking, you don't know what's coming down the pike to have an attitude like that. And I guess the analogy would be all those people want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, and that it's just not the way to go. You need to support this. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Moudry?
First and foremost, I will be supporting the millage. I was thoroughly disappointed when the millage this past fall went down to defeat. I just couldn't understand how that could happen. But in public safety, I cannot imagine when you call the sheriff's office, you're going to be looking at 20 to 30-minute response time. There just won't be anybody there to respond. Everything will be prioritized the best it can, but we're going to be the real losers here. And we've got a great team of people. The prosecuting attorney's office, 5,000 cases. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, before I had this job, I worked on the Board of Canvassers. You couldn't have a better team of people operating the clerk's office and the elections. I was amazed at how well everything ran during the elections. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But let me restate, I am in support of the coming millage. It's going to be cheap in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Whitaker?
Thank you. I guess one of the conclusions I've made, or one of the highs that I've had through this process, is just how little people know about what government does and what the county government does, and that like we pretty much touch almost every part of people's lives. And when it's going well, nobody cares about it. But when it's not going well is when people pay attention. So I think that this process, regardless of how it goes, people are going to learn more about what county government does. But I think we need to have better lines. People just need to know more about what we do. I know we're trying to do that. Communication is hard to do, even though we have probably more options for that than ever. But we have people with all levels of, skill or accessibility to media and, online things and Facebook and internet. So we can't assume that everybody's going to go look at YouTube, because some people still don't even know what that is. But I do think that this problem's been a long time coming. I mean, we've gone a long time with just making ends meet and just patching the hole, and it's time to, we can talk about the problems and how they got here, forever, but we have a fairly easy solution here that's not really very expensive to anybody, and it wouldn't just patch the hole, but it'll help us build a whole new structure so that we can move forward with, I think, more awareness and more commitment and people really understanding, number one, the excellence of the staff in this county, what people know and what they're able to do and how committed they are is incredible. And I've been a commissioner, this is my 13th year, and I've always been awed by the level of commitment and excellence and skill, and people don't know that. They wouldn't know that. But I just want to say I fully support the millage, and I've been talking about that in our township, or my district today. Mark Moudry and I, we are in the Banks Drain district. That's where it is in our districts. And the assessment letters came out yesterday. So people aren't really very happy. They were surprised, they were shocked. I mean, it's a big amount of money, but it's also a shock. People don't know that this is happening. and they don't understand that the drain code is different than the county commission, and that, you know, there's different parts of government that run, and when you start talking about it, it becomes an excuse, right? It sounds like we're just excusing ourselves, but it's so complicated, you know? Government is complicated, and, I mean, that's, the fact that we have people that can navigate it as well as our county staff does, you know, is a gift. So I just hope people will learn from this whole thing, whatever it is. It's an ugly way to have to learn a lesson, but unfortunately, I think, you know, unless people feel like there's something at stake for them or they're going to lose something, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They want to complain, and that's who we hear from. We hear from the people who are unhappy. We don't hear from the people that are happy. So I'm happy. So I just want to say a lot of us are very satisfied with our county, and I think that we just need to do everything we can to lift up the excellence that we have here and have people understand how fortunate we are to have a well-managed and a well-operated organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Muder.
One more shot. I hear a lot about Facebook. Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. I do not do Facebook, okay? And there's a reason for that. When my daughter was in school, she was bullied through Facebook. And the CEO of Facebook did nothing to help these kids that were under siege, okay? And that's when Mark Mudry boycotted Facebook and a lot of other social media. I don't do X or Twitter or whatever. No. And I hear people whose lives have been complicated, ruined through social media. And there was talk years ago that the computers were going to destroy us. Okay? And my opinion, Facebook has done a pretty good job of destroying a lot of people's lives, and I won't be part of it. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Barber.
Yeah. I know I'm going to regret this comment after. But anyways, I'd like to say to all the commissioners, congratulations, you know, I'm glad you support the millage. But I said last month, you know, like, maybe we should all start voting like we support the millage. Maybe we shouldn't spend money in the 26 budget like we did last month. But hey, I support the millage.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Haskell, or I mean, Hanson.
Are you referring to me or Haskell?
Yeah, Hanson.
Okay. Yes, I'm, guess I better get these out of my ears so I don't hear myself. Yes, I support the millage, and I'm, you know, I am on social media and stuff and watching some of the things that are going on, and all the misinformation that is being put out there. I had talked to the emergency manager earlier tonight, talking about his vehicle, and then I had some people, lady trying to tell me that this is a SUV that's fully equipped and everything, and why do two people just need that's in that office need such a big vehicle? And it upset me to the point where at the end, I said, well, maybe they should just buy a 2-seat Corvette. And, but the other thing to bring out too, in my district, which takes in Calamo and Carmel Township, we have a lot of farmers, and they are opposed to it pretty much because of the fact of, you know, they own thousands of acres, and the tax that would be against them. And but there's so many trade-off benefits too that at some point in time they're going to need someone from the clerk's office maybe to issue a death certificate or something. If we're not open to do that, it's going to take a lot more time maybe to get that processed and everything. And I really do appreciate the employees that we do have. I've talked to a few of them, you know, one of the gentlemen that mows the lawn and stuff out here, and some of them, and I just appreciate all that they do because they're dedicated to their job. There is one individual, I don't want to mention their name or agency or that I'm not that fond of here in the county because of I don't feel he's doing the job. But on the most part, whether it be in the planning and zoning area with Chad and Brandy, I appreciate all the hard work that they do and in helping to solve situations and problems. And in the same way in Connie's office with our, that was another issue too, that why are we paying for a communications director? Well, so many times different agencies need to take and consolidate their information so we got one voice speaking for the county. And rather than, because so many times people hear this and hear that, and pretty soon I remember when I was a kid, we used to have a game that we'd be in a circle and someone would whisper in one ear and had to pass it around. And of course, by the time it came back to the original person, it wasn't anywhere near what was said in the beginning. So again, and I'm kind of a quiet person usually here in the commission, but I do like to talk to individuals and stuff afterwards or before the meetings and stuff. And but I do appreciate all of you commissioners too and your input and opinions on things. And I know we can make Eaton County better. But right now we do need these funds to take and get the support that these different departments need. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to unfinished business.
Nothing?
Nothing. Any old business?
No.
Any new business?
No, sir.
That brings us to our second limited public comment. If you'd like to address the board, please approach the podium, and if you could keep it to 3 minutes or less, appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherry Ritchie, and I live in Delta Township. I'm here tonight to comment on behalf of a friend of mine who lives in the portion of Delta Township that is getting assessed for the Bank Intercounty Drain. That person sent me a copy of the letter that they received today with their apportionment, and they were very concerned and kind of shocked to get this in the mail. I brought a handful of Delta magazines with me today. I get these. I've lived in Delta Township for 10 years, and I've saved all these in a box. So I went through the last year's worth of issues of Delta magazine to look for the announcements that have been made repeatedly, we've been told, about the assessment to come. And I'd like to read you, in winter of 2025, there was no ad for it. In fall of 2024, so like maybe October, whatever, September, October, there was an ad for it placed in the magazine by the Bank Intercounty Drain, or for it, I guess, and it's an organization, bankdrain.org. I'd like to read you all the actual ad, and if you imagine yourself as a homeowner in that area, what your impression would be reading this announcement. Bank Intercounty Drain Information Hub. The Information Hub provides comprehensive information regarding the Bank Intercounty Drain. Whether you are interested in learning about the history of the drain, an understanding of its current state and capacity, current challenges, or in-process plans, this page will help you visualize and learn more about this drain and the surrounding area. Then there's a QR code and a website. This is how big the ad is right here. It's this big. And people are being assessed thousands and upon thousands of dollars that if they can't pay it up front, they're going to have to sign up for a 30-year payment plan. I went to the Delta Township Trustees meeting Monday night, and I'll be quick, Jim. The group that's going to do the construction, I guess, was there presenting again. I've seen their presentation before, but, like 6 people from the public go to those trustees meetings too. It's really sad. The Founding Fathers never intended for citizens to be uninvolved in government. We're supposed to be involved in government. But they showed an example of someone with a $15,000 apportionment, and over the 30 years, they're going to end up paying $28,000 for that bank drain. My friend's apportionment was a little bit lower than that, but it's it's pretty close to that amount. It's stunning, and the ad that I just read has been repeated in 3 or 4 issues, not even every issue of Delta Magazine in the past year. And I'll be speaking to them about that as well. I don't live in the drain district, so I'm thankful. Brandon's nodding because we missed it by that much. But if you read that ad, would you realize, like, Houston, we have a problem? Danger, danger, Will Robinson. I mean, I'll quote them all. But I wouldn't think anything of that. That ad would put me to sleep. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that, and thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone
To
else?
say something
Well, you can't, this is public comment.
at some point,
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board, please? All right. We will move on, and that brings us, so we're going to go into closed session. So I want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and I hope you have a rest of your evening. Yep.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to enter into closed session under Section 15.268, 1H of the Open Meetings Act to discuss an attorney-client privilege letter from Cole Stoker and Toskey PC dated March 13th, 2025.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Derosha, supported by Commissioner Toomey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
This requires
opposed?
a roll call vote, Mr. Chair.
Oh, roll call vote, yep. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Commissioner Arndt,
Aye.
Commissioner Peak, Commissioner Haskell,
Yes.
Commissioner Pearl-Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Yes.
Commissioner Mudry.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Drosha.
Yes.
Commissioner Toomey.
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson. Yes. Commissioner Christensen. Commissioner Holmes. Commissioner Barnes. Chairman Mott.
Yes.
Did I say Barber? Commissioner Barber.
What is that?
of closed session. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thanks, Tim. Appreciate your time. Meeting is adjourned.
Sorry about that. Every single one John has approved with that being on there.